first one. Draw whatever shape you'd like, doesn't matter. Rectangle, square, circle, obelisk, whatever it is you want. This first one is going to be a series of circles. Try to get them as close to circles as you possibly can, because it actually looks a lot cooler if you do actual circles versus sloppy ones. I'm usually good at sloppy circles, so we'll see how I do. So what you're going to do is you're going to start out with a couple of pretty big ones, not huge, but pretty big ones. And every circle after that should touch another one. There's going to be some times when you have, some larger ones or some gaps in between. Don't worry about that. They don't all have to be the same size. You just do it really randomly. But you want them to actually be circles. Like here, I'm going to have a big gap there. I'm just going to keep going. But you want to try to avoid the big gaps if you can. It helps to go slow when you're drawing these so that you can actually get real circles. You can make these circles as big or as small as you'd like. Don't make them too tiny, like that one there is pretty tiny. Don't make them like super crazy small, because you are going to put something in between there, or in the center. But if you want the pattern to be really, really large, you can just make, gigantic circles. It's up to you. And of course, when you get to the edge, you're going to have some that go off the edge, which is perfect. Alright, so just like that. You got a little ovally on the side, but that's alright. We'll just keep going. It does look really cool if you can actually get really great circles, but I'm not a really great circle maker, as I said. So on these larger ones, that's what we're going to start with. Any of these ones that are what I would call the largest of the group, so I have, you know, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pretty large circle in the center, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a white, I don't know, a little shine mark, a little white shine mark like that. So you draw your circle, and then you kind of just hook it, just to make it like a, I don't know, a little moon shape, and that's how you can get it. So they should all be kind of on the same side. Mine happen to be here on the left side, so I'm going to do that on all of them. Doesn't have to be directly in the center, but you want to try and get it as close as you can. Like that one, I just, it was a little offset, but oh well. You might not have as many as I do, or you may have more, so just take your time and fill in which ones you think are the largest. You don't need to fill in all of them if you don't want to, but kind of see how they're nicely spread out. They're not all in one clump. I have a good spacing in between all of these, so that looks good to me. All right, so I'm going to leave the rest of them alone, and then with these, what we're going to do is we're going to put like wagon wheel spokes. Sorry, there's a bug on my face. Wagon wheel spokes through these. Nice and straight. You can make them as tight together as you'd like. I'm just going to kind of leave a little space in between mine. Kind of like how that looks. But again, you can change yours to whatever it is you want. I'm outside right now, and I think I'm just feeding the mosquitoes because they keep biting my leg. Okay, I think I got them all. Alright, so now in the other ones, I kind of work biggest to smallest. So these are my largest ones, and now I'm going to do the next pattern. So maybe in some of these that are what I would call medium-sized, what you're going to do is you're just going to make the outside edge a little bit wider. So you're just going to draw a nice ring in there. It can be as wide as you like. It doesn't have to be ridiculous, but a nice ring in there. And then you're going to put a small little dot in the center. So nothing too complicated with that. I'm just going to find any ones that you want, as many as you want, that are kind of the next size down, and do that. See, I have these 2 large ones here, but I have these 3 here, so I'm not going to fill those in. I'm just going to leave those blank. So you have to kind of look around and see where you have them. You don't want them to be all in one section. So you can go through and you can just pick whatever ones you want. So this looks pretty good spacing for those. So now what you can do is you're not going to fill in all of these, so don't be concerned. And this is actually really neat if you do this in colors as well. So some of these, like these larger ones, you can do them in a certain color, whatever, and then the next one you can do in a different color. So it actually looks really cool that way too. But then some of these next ones, like some of these larger ones, I'm just going to put a large dot in it with no shade spot, or excuse me, no reflection spot, and nothing else. Just a big center circle. I'm going to try and watch my spacing. I mean, they can be close together, but you don't want them all in the same area, is all that you want to try to avoid. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Nicely spaced. Alright, so some of them you're just going to leave blank, and you can decide which ones you want to do. The rest of them, I'm going to pick some of these littler ones, but I'm going to try to avoid where it's right here next to a large border one. I'm going to color it in completely back. Oops. See, I wanted to avoid that, but I wasn't paying attention. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So then, in some of these larger ones here, I think it looks a little, I think there's a little too many of them that are blank. I'm just going to go in, I'm going to put a dot right in the middle. Just a really tiny, tiny little dot. Again, I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to break up the monotony of having all of these, all of these empty circles in the middle of nowhere. And it should be a tiny dot. Alright, that looks good. So whenever you try this Zendoodle on another piece of paper or whatever design you have, try and make some of these circles really large, you know, like very large, and see how it looks. Instead of making tiny ones, see how it looks with larger circles as you go across, because it looks pretty cool either way you do it. Alright, so the next one we're going to do is very simple. Again, you can draw whatever shape you like, doesn't matter to me. I'm going to draw it a little bigger because this one's actually really easy. So this is one of those patterns that you can do when you're in a hurry or you have a lot of sections to do and you just kind of are done, but you want to fill in one last section. So you're going to draw, this one's going to be ovals. You can do whatever you want though. If you want to do triangles, you could do rectangles, squares, you know, whatever. I'm just going to do ovals. And you're going to do random shapes, and it should be kind of sketchy where it looks like it just kind of overlaps. So what that is you just kind of keep going in a circle, but they don't line up. So something like that. And you're going to have some that are small. You can have some that are really thick, so it looks a little darker. Some that are a little bit more circular. That's fine. They don't all need to be large. You can have some that are really, really tiny. Like that little guy right there. You can have them as close together as you'd like. You can have it as full of a section as you'd like. You don't have to have, you know, all of these. I don't know what that birdie is, but he's not making a very nice song. Come on, birdie. Alright, so this is all you have to do here. Again, you can have it as full as you want. You can have them be, you know, really far apart if that's the look you're going for. So you can do the opposite. So now what we're going to do, I'll explain what I mean by the opposite in just a second. So here's my sketchy ovals. And you can, what you're going to do is you're going to draw lines through the section. You can go vertical, you can go diagonal, you can go horizontal, you can do wavy patterns, or excuse me, wavy lines if that's the pattern that you like. It's entirely up to you what it is that you want. Because this, your design here, might be next to something that has straight lines, and you might want to make this one wavy. Or it might be next to something in the opposite way where it's really, really dark, and you want this one to be really light, so then you're going to make your lines further apart. Or opposite of that, you would have a really light pattern next to it. You want to make this really dark, you make your lines closer together, and that will help with that. So I'm just going to draw straight lines up and down, vertical lines. And it should go straight through. So you're not going to draw through the sketchy ovals. You're going to come down, you're going to stop, and you're going to try and keep your lines as straight as you can. And they should line up, so you can see that this line goes all the way through behind there. It's okay if they're not 100% straight. If you want to use a ruler, you can, but I discourage that because it's a little too technical. So this one you won't see, obviously. See this one here kind of bowed a little bit. Just keep going. Just keep working with that. Don't worry about that. My lines are not generally very straight when I Zendoodle because, I don't know, There's no reason to be. Unless you're doing a grid pattern. Alright, so just like that. Again, you can do the reverse of this where you color the circles in all dark. You could do a circle where you just keep going and color the whole thing in, but just have it still be really sketchy, and do it this way too, and have your lines going through the same way. Or you can, again, if you make your lines really tight together, it's going to make it appear very, very dark in color. So you can decide what you want to do with that. And if it's football season, you can turn these into little footballs, or do other funny things with them. So you can make that whatever it is that you want. Again, you can do all these in color too, and your lines in black. So you could just get some colored pens or pencils or whatever you have, and do every other, do a couple of one color, a couple of another, or you can do an ombre effect where it's maybe red here, kind of orangey in the middle, and then yellow over here, and then do your lines behind. It will look very cool. Alright, so the last one that we're going to do is the border. You can use this one for a fill pattern also, so it looks really neat that way as well, but we're just going to do it for a border today. You're going to draw any kind of wavy line that you want, as long as you want, as wide as you want. The one on the bottom, the second line, I'm going to start really wide here, and then as I get up here, I'm going to go a little closer, like that. So you can do it however you want. You can just have it go straight across if that's what you want to do too. It doesn't matter. And you can have it be really wide, so if you draw another one, you can have this one be really, really wide, and do it that way too. So either one. So to pick a side that you want to start on the top or the bottom, you're going to draw two kind of curved lines like that. They shouldn't touch. This one has a little boo-boo on it, so they shouldn't touch, and they should only go about 3/4 of the way to the other side. They should not touch anything at all. They should just be two lines, and again, they're going to be kind of like I don't know, where they get skinny in the middle and then out at the side. Then you're going to jump a little bit, however much you want. I would recommend that you just kind of go like, I don't know, it's not really a 1/2 inch, but maybe a little bit less than a 1/2 inch. And you do exactly the same thing, only on the bottom line. So you're going to keep alternating which line you start on. And you can have them be really close together or really far apart, or you can alternate how you do it. It doesn't matter to me. They should cave in towards each other. So I'll go slow because it's easy to draw it, to mess up and draw it the other way. As it gets skinnier, my lines tend to get a little closer, so that's fine if that's what's happening to yours as well. Remember, only go about 3/4 of the way or 2/3 of the way, whatever you think will look fine on your design. Maybe one more. Alright, so that's what you should have, something like that. Now you're going to go through and you're just going to draw a line straight across the tops of all these. You can do this as you're drawing. My mind tends to work a little better if I can just keep going with the same pattern and then go back and do the next part. But you can do that however you want. little sunshine on my drawing here. Alrighty, so now I'm going to switch to the big marker. If you have a big marker, you can switch to yours too. Excuse me. So what you're going to do is, on all of these flat sections, like these sections in between your curved lines, you're going to draw a thicker border. So just like that. It doesn't have to be anything profound. You just want to draw it thicker on this, just in between those lines. You're not going to do anything in between there. You don't have to be super precise, but you do want to keep it inside your border, of course. So here I got a little close. I shouldn't have drawn that quite so long. So that's that part. Oops, I forgot one here. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to color in all of these oblong pieces. So if you have a really thick marker but your lines are really close together, you may want to do that center part with the skinny marker and then fill in the other sections with the big one. But if you're just using a pen, then you can just have fun relaxing and coloring it in. So it's just like that. So you can do this, like I said, as a fill. So that's basically all there is to it. You can add shading or whatever it is that you like around the outside. But if you wanted to, sorry, I'm off on the side. I want to make sure it's in the sun here. If you wanted to make it into a fill section, it's a fill pattern that you can use inside of a section, you're just going to do the same thing, but you have to make sure that you don't line them up, you know, like that. So you're just going to kind of start on, maybe you have to start on the same side. And you can make them like really loopy. You can have these arches be really severe. Alright, so there's the patterns for today. I hope that you enjoyed them. So this one, actually, what I wanted to mention on this one here, so you can do like this pattern where you go through a section, and then you can leave a white space or put another row of something in between those that maybe has another pattern, a lighter pattern, or whatever it is that you want. So you can dress these up however you want. You can put scallops on the outside, whatever it is that you'd like. So I hope that you enjoyed the patterns for today. We'll see you again next week, and I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Bye!